In this session, we're going to discuss how to receive a part and how to return a part and the various ways that you can handle this. Okay. Before we can return any parts, we have to receive them. So first, let's talk about the three different ways to receive a part in the system. Okay. So we have a coolant hose here that we're going to go look up on work order 198. So first of all, I'm going to right click on that and we're going to go to our catalog. So this is number 1. Go to our online connection here. Find the part that we want, select it, hit apply. Again, it's going to fill everything in for me. I'm going to go to my purchases, select my supplier, place my order. Once the part arrives, highlight and either A, open the purchase order, or B, receive the item, since that is a single item. Now on this invoice number, what we're going to do is we're going to use today's date. And I'm going to put a -1 so I'll remember which one this is. And okay, so now this item has been received. If I go to my work order, you'll see that that is all filled in. Everything is fulfilled. The second way you can do this is to actually create a purchase order. So maybe I need to pick up the phone and call a supplier. I'm not going to do an online catalog. I can create a purchase order and receive it off of that. So let's open the line. We're going to go to source, move this source to purchase, and create a purchase order. When creating a purchase order, again, I'm going to want to put a part number in. Let's just say it's 23699-1. Who is the supplier? And we're going to use the same supplier again. The system will create the purchase order for me. How many am I buying? What is my cost? Hit OK. Now I have a purchase order. So I can open it from here, make my phone call, order it in, and then tell the system I have placed the order. Hit OK. And now I have my purchase order created. Now again, I have not received it yet. So once the part arrives, I can A, open it here, or B, I can go to my purchases, purchase orders, search for it here. There's my purchase order. Open it up, put in my supplier invoice, and receive. Now when I'm doing this way through the purchases, what happens is this takes a little bit to get refreshed. Okay, so I may need to do a save here, and I may even need to close it and reopen it to get this to refresh. Okay, so let's do a save and close. Go back to our work in progress. We're going to open this back up, and now you'll see that all of the magenta is gone. The third way to do this is to open the line. Now I'm just double clicking. You can either right click or you can double click and manually receive. So let's say we get another one here. We're going to manually receive this. And again, we're going to use the same vendor. And then what is my cost? So here I have manually received it. Why do I want to do this? What is the number one reason? A, if I'm going to sell something on a work order that I'm bringing in from an outside vendor, I must receive it in. Okay. What the system is doing in the background is this. Let's do a save. I'm going to go to purchases. Every time you receive a part in a work order, it is going to make a copy of the supplier invoice back here. So if I go over to O'Reilly, hit search. Here are my 3 invoices. This is the one I did with the cataloging. Okay. This is the one I did through the purchase order. This is the one I manually received. Everything gets duplicated back here, and what it's doing is it's basically starting an audit trail. Okay. So I have to receive it in first in order to make a return. So let's go discuss returns. Go back to my work order. So a lot of times we will purchase items, receive them in, come to find out we don't need them, don't want them, might be the wrong part. This is pretty simple. You just simply right click on it after you've received it. You're going to hit delete and move to returns. So what the system is going to do at this point here is it's going to make a copy of that part and number, and it's going to put it into a returns bin holding area. This is going to give you the capability of tracking these part returns. So move to returns, and it's gone from the ticket. So let's go look what happened in the background. So if I go back to my purchases, my line item, now you'll notice there's a red exclamation point on this line item. See, not associated with any work order line. What that means is I've received it and I've returned it. If I go into my returns bin, items to be returned, go to O'Reilly, search. Now I have a copy of that. So now I have a really nice audit trail. I have the audit trail where I bought it, and I have an audit trail of where I'm returning it. And then I can track this return, make sure I'm getting my proper credits. That's the most common thing that is going to happen in here. Now we do have another feature in here. And let's take this next item, right click, delete, remove item from supplier invoice. What does this mean? Well, this could be used for a couple of things, but primarily the number one thing is I received this part. I have it on the wrong work order. And that typically happens when I do a manual entry. I may get busy, may get in a rush, put it in there. So how do I fix this? The first thing you're going to want to do is, again, have the copy of that invoice handy. So what you're going to do is remove it. Okay. It's removed from this work order. Save that. Go back to purchases. Now I will not see it in the returns bin because I'm not sending it back. If I go over to my supplier invoice, here's the supplier invoice. It has disappeared. So in order for me to have it re-entered on the supplier invoice again, I must receive it again. So basically, when I remove from supplier invoice, I'm telling the system that I need to receive it somewhere else. I could simply receive it into inventory, or maybe it just belonged on a totally different work order. Okay. So if I go to my work in progress and go to a different work order, and we're just going to enter it here just so you can see how this works. I'm going to add a material line, and I'm going to receive it in again. So I have my coolant hose, my part number. Again, same supplier. The invoice number is already here. was my cost. Now, let's do a quick save. Go to purchases. We're going to refresh this again here. I'm going to hit O'Reilly. Open it up. There it is. So what that allows me to do is receive a part into a work order, remove it, and then receive it somewhere else without having it duplicated in the system. That way it's only entered one time. The last thing in here when it comes to returns is, let's talk a little bit about inventory. Inventory is pretty straightforward. If I need to go to inventory and get something, I just simply right click on it or open it up and jump straight to inventory. So I want to pull some antifreeze here. I highlight what I want, draw it, or just double click it, either way. So I've pulled this antifreeze from inventory. Well, come to find out, I got the wrong antifreeze. Or I don't need it, or I don't want it. So if I don't need it or don't want it, let's do a little save here. Simply click on it, right click, and delete it. All it does is puts it right back into inventory. What if I pulled the wrong part? I want to get a different antifreeze. Go back to inventory. It's going to pull that definition back across. See, it pulls up my antifreezes again, or I can change it, doesn't matter. And then I can select what I do want. And then it's going to change it on the work order. That's a little bit on how to handle returns and how to move a part from one work order to another off of a supplier invoice.